Hello everyone, I'm Massimo. I'm the founder of a couple of startups making food with insects in China and in Thailand. And let me please start with a brief video of one minute, and we will talk about that from here.
Everybody try the spiral pasta
it's
first.
linguine.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, try the curly Q one first.
That's
the spiral.
fine.
Is there
It's
anything
fine.
on the
I don't wanna
pasta, or is
know.
it just
No,
A little bit of olive oil and some salt.
okay?
Yeah, it's fine. It tastes like home ec food.
Want to try?
It's not bad.
Great
It's like-
yolk.
Now try the other one.
Is Chief Big Pussy Face going to have a
Well,
bite?
the pasta is being monopolized by
Is
both
that his new
sides.
nickname?
Yeah, how did I know you were talking to me?
I don't know, but you answered me right away.
Now try the one that looks like spaghetti.
Linguine.
Which one do you like better?
You know which one I actually like better, and I think I know that it's the cricket one.
Which one?
They're all
The
crooked.
spiral one, right?
I like the
spiral.
regular
We'll go with
linguine.
Charlie's.
I
I
like
like
the
the spiral
linguine.
one
It
better.
was a little crunchy.
You
I
know
like the
what? You know what
linguine
this
better.
one is? I think this is gluten-free pasta.
The
Linguine. I think the
It's
linguine.
surprisingly delicious.
the twisty one that you like so much is cricket pasta.
I knew it. Yeah, it was
It's
fine.
called BUgsolutely, and it's 20% crickets ground up. It says on the box contains 20% cricket flour, a superfood that's rich in proteins, omega-3, and vitamin B12.
Now, the interesting thing of this is, I didn't know about this. We found out because the website had a peak in visits, and we found out that they bought the cricket pasta somewhere. It's in the US, it's a national radio show, and the interesting part is that the reaction of most of the people is this. The first time they try insects, they say it doesn't taste insects. So this to me says a lot about the preconception people have with eating insects. They think that because we don't eat insects, insects taste bad, and then they are surprised they don't. The problem with this taste with insects is clearly only in North America and Europe, because in most of the other countries and in all the continents, insects are eaten. Now, I'm sure you have heard about edible insects, because media coverage in the West in the last few years has been huge, and has tried to tell people that there are reasons to eat insects, and we will see what these reasons are. But first, let me finish with the problem of this taste. There is no reason to think that insects are disgusting. I don't see any difference, visual difference, or even that the similarity between shrimps and crickets is they are so close that if you are allergic to shrimps, there are good chances you are allergic also to crickets. In that other photo, you have silkworms and again shrimps, but even an oyster to me looks like a monster, but we like to eat oysters. So clearly there is a preconception with eating insects. And this is the reason why for centuries we haven't considered that as a food. But a few years ago, someone started making food with insects, maybe it's like in the case of the lollipop, which is a successful US companies. It's kind of a joke, it's not really food. Or in the case of Jiminy's, which is a French startup, as a whole insects as a snack, which is the traditional way to do that, and in my opinion is not the way to go when it comes to Western consumers. But then someone started integrating the insects in packaged food in a better way, and then a lot of startups in the US and in Europe too decided that maybe it's better to start from a niche, which is fitness, and so there are so many brands doing energy bars now, where the percentage of cricket powder is not huge, I have to say, because it's still expensive. But it's a first step, and maybe it's a good idea to start from fitness. Who may know? But I prefer to consider farmed insects, because here we are talking about farmed insects, so they're absolutely safe. Like something you process into powder and then you use as an ingredient to make food as we know, which may be the pasta, like in the case of my startup in Thailand, where cricket flour cost 4 times less than in the US and 8 times less than in Europe, or like meat, like in the case of these Belgian companies, which is an established food companies, or bolognese sauce. Some of you are Italians, I'm sure, so you will smile at this, but it tastes good. What can I say? You'll get used to this, I'm sure. So in Thailand, there is definitely an advantage in buying the ingredient, because farming cricket is a tradition that started long ago. But I also, as I mentioned before, I'm also working at a project, and we will go into production with BUgsolutely China, making the first snack made with silkworm powder. I was invited by a food accelerator. The president of this food accelerator has been on this stage this morning. Is the first Chinese food accelerator focused on sustainability and on health food. And they invited me to work on this project, and we are now in the latest stages. The advantages with silkworm is that they are already farmed since 4,000 years ago in China, and they are a bypass product. They are fed with mulberry leaves, so it's a perfect circular economy, because you just get the leaves from the mulberry trees, and they don't need water. They are perfectly clean, and there are tons of them which are used mostly in China for feed for animals. So you have a superfood, which is the silkworm, and you give that to other animals to get a lot less meat and a less healthy meat. In terms of nutrition, as I said, this is a superfood. It's packed with protein, so that's why someone talk about insect protein. I prefer to call them edible insects, because it's not just the protein. There are a lot of minerals, there are a lot of vitamins, so it's much more than that. And in terms of sustainability, maybe this is not something that can influence too much the consumer decisions when they purchase a food, but it's something we innovators know it's really important. I mean, the insects are fantastic. You know, they convert feed into body mass in a very efficient way, while we all know that beef is an ecological disaster. In terms of legal status, what I call Anglo-Saxon countries, they don't have a problem with farmed insects at all. So you can produce them, you can sell them in supermarkets. While Europe, they make kind of complicated process. We know that Europe can be bureaucratic sometimes, and I expect crickets and mealworm to finish the approval process, which started in January 2018, within the end of the year or the beginning of 2019. Legal obstacle and regulatory uncertainty is not good for business. So Europe, in terms of innovation, food innovation, as an obstacle when getting approval from the EU is so complicated. Now, I didn't update this slide with the latest survey, which is even more optimistic than this. This is going to be a huge market, especially in north of Europe. Maybe in Italy, I noticed more people complaining about the idea of eating insects, but they didn't taste them. So we should try first we should taste them and see if they taste good or not. And then I think, because that's the most important thing with food, right? So if you want to know more, you can check out the website about cricket pasta, or the Chinese one is about the silkworm flour-based chips, and you can contact me anytime to get more information. Thank you.